Hello. Right now, I will be sharing with you this teaching style, which is actually very effective, and I usually use this during my classes. So, let me just give you some overview about what will happen in this presentation. So, for the teaching style, we are going to deal with typing notes, your style of teaching, okay, if it's boring, strict, nice, if you talk fast or slow. Also, we will talk about the practice, the speaking, and the listening. Next is failure to explain your plan about what will happen in the next class. Also, failure to close the deal in the class. And last is failure to follow up. So, these are the contents of our presentation or my presentation for this teaching plan. So let's deal with typing notes first. Okay, so for typing notes, it's really necessary that we have to have this kind of skills when we are teaching, because of course our students are Chinese and they are um, find it hard sometimes to catch up what we are talking. So we need to type. Okay, here are some problems that usually we deal with typing skills. So slow typing skills. And how are we going to resolve that? So here's the speed test and practice. So kindly visit this website, www.typingtest.com for you to practice. This is very helpful. Also, as I have said, typing is a must and it may as well vary according to the level of the students. So later on, I will show you some level of the students. So next is for slow learner students, okay, you need to type the whole sentence as possible. Okay, and for fast learner, well, sometimes keywords or even phrases are just enough. Okay, so that is for the teaching, I mean for the typing notes. Next is your style. Okay, is your class boring? So if it is boring, what will you do? So always be energetic and enthusiastic, I mean during the class. Make your lesson sounds more exciting and make your student know that they are going to progress you. So what are the things that you have to do for this? Make your voice livelier and enthusiastic. May you have some ice-breaking talk in the beginning about students' favorite, like their favorite food, hobby, likes, and even dislikes. So next is if your student is, I mean, if you are strict or nice. Some students sometimes prefer that their teachers are strict. Sometimes they prefer that their teachers are nice or even patient. So how are you going to deal with this? Building rapport before the serious class begins. Let the students feel relaxed and comfortable at first. So, what you are going to do? Ask your students' expectation from you as a teacher if she wants a teacher to be strict or not. You may ask her, what do you expect in my class? Okay, what do you expect from me as your teacher? So that you could be able to vary your teaching style. If she wanted to be strict, so you have to be strict with her. Also, after some questions and answer, you may pause for a while and ask students feeling. Is she's alright? Can she follow you or she understands you? So always do these steps as well because this is very helpful. Do not just keep on uh, asking questions and let your student answer. You also need to consider their feeling. Okay, you also need to check them if they understand your explanation or not. Okay, next is talking fast or slow. So for this one, if you talk fast, well, you also need to type. Okay, and what you are going to do if your student here, sometimes here if your student has poor comprehension, speak slowly and type more. If your student has good understanding, type the keywords and you may speak at your normal speed. So we are going to refer to the next slide here. Okay. So there are two types of students. first timers and retakers. Okay, so we are going to talk about first timers here for the moment. Okay, because sometimes it depends on our student if they are first timers or they are retakers or they are as well fast learner or not. So let us talk about first these issues about first timers or newbies. Um, if your student is struggling for answer, okay, so what you are going to do is, of course, as much as possible, just give them an easy topics only. Ask or follow up questions related to the topic to guide him. Also, type keywords or sentences or the whole sentence. You may as well offer your ideas if they don't have any idea at all and correct errors immediately. So, if your student is knowledgeable even though they are first timer, you may consider them giving tough topics. Don't forget as well to always type the keywords and point out mistakes and correct them as much as possible. So example, if your student, you're going to ask your student, or if your student, I mean, answered, I use my computer to send messages in abroad, so you know that there is a mistake when it comes to their grammar. So kindly correct them. I use my computer to send messages abroad. Okay, so this is one way that you could be able to help your student understand. Okay, so in here, first timers, you need to type, and as much as possible, um, you need as well to adjust your speed when you are talking. Okay, so let's say for example your students are retakers. So same as well, if they are, even though they are retakers, sometimes they are as well struggling for answer. So what you are going to do is give them an easy topics at first until such time that they already understand and know the method on how to answer. Always do follow-up questions and type keywords and sentences. You may as well offer ideas and correct errors immediately. And if your student is knowledgeable, give them some tough topics because you know they can already handle that. And type keywords and point out mistakes and corrections. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Practice speaking and listening. So for this part, what you are going to do here is add some interesting practice in the class. Make sure that students can say more in the class. For instance, in NL, we can try 1 minute speech. Tell them what they did yesterday. Tell me your hobby. So this is one way for them to practice their speaking because this is a speaking class. Okay, you may as well do the double practice. Each question I will give you at least 2 times to practice. Okay, if they are really quite difficult to handle, or if their comprehension are I mean if their comprehension is not really good, so you may as well do the triple practice. So each questions you are going to give students maximum 3 times to answer, especially if they are having so many mistakes when it comes to the 4 criteria. So if it's not good enough after triple practice, then consider that question as part of their homework. Okay. Also, for the practice and speaking and listening part, allow your student as well to speak and answer first. If she is having hard time to answer, do some follow-up questions to guide her. Okay, what I usually do here is that I ask first the question to the student. If she already started answering, then that's the time that I will send her the question so that I could be able to check if she understand my question or not. Okay, that in such a way that they will not just depend on giving questions or typing questions. So I will let them answer first to practice their listening. After that, I will send a question. Okay, so also it says here if she is having hard time to answer, do some follow-ups. Example, If you are going to ask your student what kind of jewelry would you like to buy, and if she had a long break, that means her comprehension is not good. So try to rephrase the question. And you may offer ideas to guide your students, like there are some types of jewelries like gold, diamond, etc. Okay, so that they may have idea that okay, these are the examples of jewelries. Also, ask the questions first. If she already started speaking, then that's the time that you may send questions. Somehow, this may help practice her listening skills. This is what I am talking about a while ago. Okay, so next. Next is failure to explain the plan. Sometimes it is hard for us to convert our class into a sale because we forget to explain our plan. So we need to explain our plan, what will happen in the next class. So here are some important ways that you have to remember. Um, you need to give them a homework. Okay, so when giving homework, you may do so by making at least two teaching plan, one for low level students and one for high level students. Okay, also always be clear about your teaching plan for your future students. Give them an overview about what will happen during the next class. Will help them realize, that you are a responsible teacher and will help them improve their target score. Example, for students who are very low, sometimes what I do is I let them finish first part 1 for 3 days until such time that they are fully understood about the method and skills to answer this part. Then after that I will proceed to part 2 and part 3 3 days for 3 days each part, so that this may somehow avoid confusion for them. Okay. Also, you may as well explain to your students, or you may as well, prepare at least two teaching plan, just like what I've mentioned in the beginning, based on their target score. Example, your student target is between 4 to 6, so kindly prepare a teaching plan for that. And for band score 6 to 7, you also need to prepare um, teaching plan for that. 6.5 to 7, Okay, 6.5. Okay, next, students level. Okay, a while ago I am telling you about the students level, that you may as well prepare teaching plan based on the students level. So for slow learner, here are some important things that you have to remember. Speak slowly, type keywords or sentences, and even ideas, so that they can easily understand and record that one as part of their notes. Always point out mistakes, explain unfamiliar words, and send pictures to easily understand. Because sometimes for slow learner, they are having hard times when it comes to their vocabulary. So pictures is an easy way to let them understand the meaning of your ideas or thoughts or words. Improve their sentence structure, send assignment, give vocabularies about next topic. Example, your next topic in part 1 is about will be about housework, so kindly send them vocabularies that as well related to housework. Share your ideas, okay, and practice 2 to 3 days for each part of the speaking test before you move on to the next part, so that they can fully understand each part before you transfer to the next one. For the fast learning, the things that you have to remember: just speak at a normal speed. You may type keywords for future reference, take note and point out mistakes immediately. Send assignment. You may just send a topic only. Example, for part 1 housework, do not send a question. Give advanced vocabulary about next topic and practice each part of the IELTS speaking test every day because they can already understand, and they will feel boring if you are going to practice part 1 for 3 days. So they prefer to practice part 1, 2 and 3 every day. Okay. So for the target score 6 and below and 6.5 and above, you may as well make a teaching plan for them, okay, based on their target score. So for band score 6, here are just some of the important tips that you have to remember. So for fluency and coherence, encourage to speak ideas as much as possible. Speak more, encourage to use connective discourse markers. For their lexical resource, practice other vocabulary words. Common words are just enough for this band score. Practice using in sentence practice using in sentence and do paraphrasing. For grammar, be careful for the tenses of the verb and as well as the subject-verb agreement, and as well as the pronoun. And always do pronunciation practice and take note that they must have intonation so that it may not sound unnatural. Okay? And for band score 6.5 and above, for fluency and coherence, always encourage them to speak at length without losing coherence or less hesitation. Use range of connective discourse markers appropriately. Vocabulary, develop an impressive less common words. They may use idioms and paraphrase effectively. Grammar, practice error-free sentences, subject-verb agreement, tenses of the verb, and practice pronunciation and intonation with proper speech pacing. Avoid slurring of words. So for this one, for the 6.5 and above, they must get at least 3 scores of 6 and 1 score of 7 in order for them to get 6.5. Next factor that we have to consider for our teaching style is our failure to close the deal in the class. So what we are going to do here for this one is that we have to feel the needs of the students first before pushing them to buy your class. So we are not here to push our product. We are here to let them feel first that they need us, that they need this class, they need this course to study. Let them feel that so that it would be easy for you, or it would be easy for them, to buy your class even though you will not tell them to do so. If student A feel that they really have the need to study, so it would be easy for her to buy your class. You may as well close the deal by leaving homework for your student. Okay? Or you may close the deal by asking them what is her plan for next class, or what is his preferred time for next class. Also, you may close the deal by giving fixed schedule for your students. Okay, this may somehow show interest in buying class. Example, I will try to fix down the schedule with the students. So by saying, how about we will be having 3 to 4 p.m. class every day. So that is one way as well for you to close the deal. And always be nice yet confident. If your voice doesn't sound or doesn't show confidence, student won't want to continue. Tell them you will see them tomorrow. Okay, and the last one is failure to follow up. Sometimes if our student may say that they will just think for a while, sometimes we easily give up. So what we are going to do, always be proactive. If students say that they will think about it and will just contact with you, do the follow-ups. Do not wait for them. So a simple message like, how are you? When do you plan to start having classes? Will let them feel that you care for them. Next is list down those students who do not buy your class. Maybe after a month or 2 months or after several months, you can contact them and ask how their English learning is going and see if they would like to try and start with you again. So these are just some of the simple tips that we have always to remember when it comes to our teaching style. So always be careful with our typing notes, with our style, with our way to practice our student. Take note about that we need to explain our plan for our next class. Take note that we need as well to close the deal and we have to follow up. So that's it.